comfortably, as the saying goes? Then I will begin. After all, we've an awful lot of ground to cover. And we're doing the whole thing, by the way, not just the career. Where shall we start, then? At the beginning? Well, it seems as good a place as any, doesn't it? Here we go, then. I, Bernard Joseph Cribbins I, and last with any luck, was born in Oldham, Lancashire, on the 29th of December, 19-something. Oh, all right, then. You've squeezed it out of me. I was born on the 29th of December, 1928, almost 90 years ago. If that sounds depressing to you, imagine what it's doing to me. One of the things people often ask me about when they meet me is my surname. Some assume it's just a stage name. But it isn't. Think about it. If you had to choose a new surname for yourself, you're hardly likely to choose Cribbins, are you? Not that there's anything wrong with it, although it is quite unique. I know there are one or two people called Cribbin knocking about, but Cribbins seems to be about as rare as hen's teeth. That's good for an actor, as people tend to remember you. The name is Irish in the first place, and I think it comes from the Gaelic name MacRoibin. Somewhere along the way, it became MacRibbin, then Cribbin, and then Cribbins. According to my mother, the S was tagged on when it became a possessive. You know, that's Cribbins' cow, or that's Cribbins' dog. For those of you who aren't familiar with the town of Oldham, it rose to prominence in the 18th century as a centre of textile manufacturing, or a mill town, as they were known. And although it's within the county of Lancashire, it sits treacherously close to the People's Republic of Yorkshire. According to this pal of mine I mentioned, who's in the know, or I should say who knows how to use a computer, other infamous Oldhamites include Tommy Cannon and Bobby Ball, Dora Bryan, who you'll hear about in a bit, Philip Schofield, Brian Cox, the physicist, not the actor Jack Wilde, who played the Artful Dodger in Lionel Bart's Oliver, and a certain gentleman named Eric Sykes, who you shall also hear a bit about later on. The area of Oldham we lived in was, and still is, called Glodwick, pronounced Glodick, and our abode was a tiny little 2-up, 2-down that was one of thousands around the area. Anyone who hails from an urban part of the north of England will probably know what I'm talking about here, as almost every town or city has them. The luxurious facilities at Chez Cribbins included a cold water tap, a tin bath, and an outside loo that we used to call the Long Drop. Don't you think that's quaint? In a lavatorial kind of way. No cistern and a chain for us, thank you very much. We used to have to make our own entertainment. If you think your stomach can take it, I'll go into a little bit of detail about this, as it's quite fun. Well, the Long Drop was literally a long porcelain tube that led from the bottom of our loo to a platform that used to tilt when a sufficient amount of material had landed on it. Am I making sense so far? Don't think about it too much, or you'll be there forever. Anyway, whenever it rained heavily, which it does rather a lot in Oldham, some of the rainwater would drain through grids onto this platform, and when that happened, the blasted thing would be tilting all night. Cubadunk, 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 they used to go. I used to lie in bed listening to it, and if it hadn't been for the fact that I knew what else was falling onto it, it might have been quite cathartic. In addition to having a rather primitive privy, we also had gas lighting in those days, as opposed to electricity. Once, while in bed with a dose of flu, there was nothing else to look at, so I started watching the gas mantle. As it burned, I noticed there was a pulse in the flame, and after a while I had to look at something else. Because I had a temperature, my heart was beating quite heavily, and I think it just accentuated everything. What with that and the platform under the Long Drop going 10 to the dozen, it's a wonder I ever recovered. According to my mother, I was born between the lights, which I think means early in the morning. Don't you think that's a charming phrase, between the lights? I do. I think it's